Oh, wait, what episode are we? Welcome in, everyone, to episode 121 or 2 or something? 121. Is that what we're calling it? I'm not sure. Didn't
Yes.
our last live post game, wasn't that one 121?
I thought that was 120.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's been multiple hundreds of
Hmm.
these. No, just kidding. There's been
Hmm.
120 something. Who cares? It's been too many of these for how dumb we are. Chris, how are you?
I am good. Yeah. Feeling Friday good vibes, you know? I love a good Friday afternoon. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. It's been a
hmm
crazy week, and I'm glad to be in the downward stretch.
yeah.
So we're here to preview Bears Vikings,
Oh, yeah?
talk a little bit about
Boo.
the week that was, and a little couple things from our post game. But first, I have something I got to get off my chest slash
Okay.
a disclaimer.
Okay.
The Fields Williams keep Fields draft a QB tank or not conversation. Okay, so first of all, I am not wanting to do this every week. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Yes.
say this once
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna let it be
Okay.
for a bit. Number one, the people that want Caleb Williams are not your enemies. People that want Justin Fields to succeed, and vice versa. We don't have to gloat if Williams throws a pick or be like, see, if Fields has a bad game. Okay. We're all in this together, wanting the Bears to do what's best for the long haul and to finally get a quarterback, whichever way they can, right? So we don't have to be like fighting on Twitter all the time about it or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and the data changes because Fields play changes. And it's okay to change your mind based on that. So if you were like me after the Bills preseason game, which was dreadful, and the Packers game, which was also dreadful, and the Bucks game, which was pretty bad, but not as bad in my opinion. There's a lot of line issues that game, but it was still bad. And then the Chiefs game, which was also dreadful, although it turns out their defense is awesome. Where'd that come
It
from?
really is. Yes, it is.
And then you're like, man, Caleb Williams is looking nice. It looks like Justin's not taking the leap, and this isn't going to work. And you want the coaches fired and all that. Then you get the Denver game, and it's like, whoa, wait, where'd that come from? Except for it ends poorly. Then you get this Commanders game that was really good. And you're like, oh, look, his stats are like really improved. He's got a decent QB rating now. Although I'd argue 95 is like not actually as high as it used to be in this league. Like that's a
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins kind of number. I'd still like it to be even higher. I want the bar really high here. But like now you're like, hmm, maybe we should keep Fields. That's okay. I'm not a hypocrite or wishy-washy because I'm giving the data a chance to change my mind, or giving Fields a chance to change my mind, or saying this, just this, people, everyone, let the season play out.
Whoa. Whoa.
What?
Are
And
you
then
insane?
we can have the whole freak out about what to do.
Yeah.
Just I just don't want to do this every week. And I feel like we're at this point where people are like going crazy about the whole thing and overreacting every week. And I don't want to do that. Let's see what he looks like in week 10 and then week 15 and then the end of the season. Because if he keeps this up, you're keeping him. But if he
Agreed.
has another 2 or 3 game stretch like before, you can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
So the ball is in Justin's court.
So to speak.
Yeah. And so I just, we
Jimmy's
don't have to
field.
fight about it. It's okay to change your mind. There you go. It's okay to change your mind based on his play. If you're like me and you thought maybe Williams, but these last couple weeks have you pausing, that's fine. I'm not convinced still. I still need to see more. I need to see it against better teams. I need to see more consistency. And above all, probably I need that floor to raise. You can never play like you played against the Chiefs.
Agreed.
You just can't. Because you cannot win that game. You can never look like Jordan Love looked against the Raiders. And so if you do it multiple times, I'm moving on. If we don't do that again, and we hit the counting stats that are like he's on pace for 3,800 yards, 37 touchdowns throwing, another what 500 yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns rushing. It's like, well, if he's accounting for 40 plus touchdowns and 4,000 total yards, I don't think you're drafting his replacement.
Hmm.
You're right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I
let's
do.
just
Yeah.
let it play out. And it's
Yeah.
totally okay to change your mind. It's just sports.
It's just
You're
sports.
not changing your mind on whether you love your children. You're just changing your mind on if this guy's the quarterback or not. Like, calm
Yeah.
down, everyone.
And it's funny
So I just
how
wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah, and it's funny how Bears fans have flipped as a whole from like get rid of him, he's a bum, he sucks, and then after these last two games, it seems like it's no, he's our guy now. We need to support him more.
Well, we don't know what
It's
to do with
funny.
a quarterback that throws
Yeah.
4 touchdowns in 2 straight weeks. We don't normally
Hmm.
experience this. So
Yeah.
I understand that. But that's my
Never
point.
have.
Like, let's let it be.
Yeah.
If we revert it to anything like the first 3 weeks, I'm drafting his replacement.
Now, are you
If
if
we
you,
hit 80% of what we did the last 2 weeks, I'm probably keeping him because he's not always going to be 4 touchdowns.
no,
But
that's
it's
just not
tough to
realistic.
evaluate because DJ was so good that game. You
He
know what
was
I mean?
so good.
Like
But
so good. So
but
like,
how,
but we're also seeing progress. I love that he slid down, man. That play was like
yes, that was one of
something
my
clicked
favorites.
play. I hoped
Yes,
that was like maybe the most telling play to me.
I would
I would
agree
love
with
if we
you.
could look back at the end of the year and be like, remember that Washington game? That
I
would
would
be
absolutely
awesome.
agree with
But
you.
it's
Yeah.
okay to just not know right now. And to be honest, man, I don't know.
So we need, a few more games to think about it, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I agree.
And let's also last thing on this.
Hmm.
Guys, this is as long as Carolina keeps looking this bad, this is a win-win. You either got your guy and you build around him with a bunch of draft capital, or you've got draft capital to reset. These are both good scenarios. I know one's better
Yes.
than the other, depending on your perspective, fine. But either way, the beauty of that DJ Moore trade is the Bears are sitting pretty, even if they do win enough not to tank with their own pick, they still have Carolina's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That
they're the
that
worst team in the league.
it's not even close. They're dreadful. How did they get so
Yeah,
much worse?
I
You
think it
know?
might be close with Denver. Denver might be that
Well,
bad
it's
when it's all said and done.
there. Yeah.
But we'll see.
Watching last night's game, Chiefs and Broncos. I caught the second half, and I was just mad that we blew our game against them. Because they are
Right? Because you're looking
terrible.
at like we could be like above 500 after this stretch of games if you beat the
Yep.
Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Because you can say all the games on the next like five or up till you get to Detroit are totally winnable.
Mm,
Chargers is the toughest, then you're definitely not going to be favored, and I wouldn't probably pick them there, but winnable still.
yeah.
And then otherwise, it's what Vikings, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. You can win all those games,
Yep.
and you'd be like
Absolutely.
6-4 heading to Detroit or whatever it would be. Instead, you got to go on a run to catch back up, and you're not catching Detroit. They're good.
No. And I'm fine with that. It's their turn.
That's
you
okay.
know?
Just keep building,
Yep, exactly.
progress.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Hey, do you mind
that's
if
that.
I call an audible here in regards to QB rating?
Oh no.
Oh
Oh
What?
no.
no. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
I
just
just want to
playing.
highlight what you said about how the game has changed to where rating what would have been a really good rating even 10 years ago is not like what you want to see today. So I got the all-time list here. Give me who do you think is the best
Okay.
quarterback you've ever seen, and I'll tell you what his career rating is. I just want to do a little experiment here.
Well, I mean, the GOAT is Brady. He's
Okay,
over 100, but not crazy over it, right?
he
Like
is
104 or
not
something.
over 100.
Oh, because of his first years, I bet.
96.62. There is
Well, I know
one.
Steve Young's way up there, and I know Rogers has to be way
Steve
up
Young is
there.
number two. There's only one quarterback above 100 for a career, and it is
Steve
the
Young?
no.
Or is
You
he still
mentioned him
playing?
though.
Because this
He's
league is different.
well, he would be playing, but he had an owie week one this year.
Yeah, Rogers.
Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah,
104.93.
Rogers.
Steve Young is number two, 96.8. So there's an 8 point difference between Rodgers at one and Steve
But
Young at
but what
number
about the
two.
guys still playing now? Mahomes
Uh,
would make it eventually.
yeah. Oh, yeah. He's
Gotta
not
be.
on here. Yeah, interesting.
So it
Who's
must
his?
not be counting current players.
Well, but Rogers is listed there.
Where's
Philip
Breeze?
Breeze is number 7.
Maybe he hasn't had enough games or
That
something
could be. Maybe there's
for
a
whatever the list
minimum.
is.
Yeah, it doesn't say that there's a minimum here, but yeah.
But this my point is like echoing Parkins, who's
Hmm.
like, okay, but 95 is Kirk Cousins in terms of like the rating. Do we
Yeah.
want him to be better than that?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what he's getting at. Like anymore now with the way they call the games, right?
Yeah.
And the PI and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's
I
all I'm
really want it to get
saying.
to 100. Now, there are some really great things Justin is doing.
Hmm.
He's basically the best QB in the red zone this year. That's
He is.
statistical
That's pretty awesome.
data. It's like Brad Spiegelberger had tweeted that out. You can't get any better than how he's playing in the red zone, which, man, that really does make you optimistic.
Hmm.
He's he's under pressure 51% of the time, although it's definitely stabilized, I think. That's a lot of
Hmm.
that's early games. And he's not very good then, but he's great in a clean pocket. So, some things are coming along.
Yep.
And we just need to watch it and see how it plays out. And let's just try to enjoy it and have fun with it because he's balling right now and DJ Moore is too.
Hmm.
And they finally got the losing streak over, which I'm happy about. And we don't join the Browns and Lions as the modern era winless teams. Which, man,
Yay!
after that Chiefs game, it felt like that was on the
It's
table.
sure did.
And then you're
It
like, yeah,
sure
we're gonna beat
did.
the We lost to the Broncos, and
But
it felt like that was on the table. And then you scored 40 on the Commanders, and only three of those points were cheap. You earned every last bit of the
that's
rest
right.
of it.
That's right. And as you pointed out about the Chiefs, that defense does look really, really good. Like that's a legit.
Yeah, we all know about Chris
Hmm.
Jones, but all those young guys are kicking butt. They're like the
Hmm.
youngest defense in the
Yeah.
league, but they're
Yeah.
playing great,
Should the Bears have moved the ball more against them? Absolutely. But
of course.
that is a good D. So yeah.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
not have someone has a worse game against the Chiefs coming this quickly in the office pool, but Russell Wilson managed to play worse than Fields.
Ooh. Ooh.
That's maybe a topic for some other time. But the Broncos could very well be tanking any day now.
Yes, they could.
So upon further review.
Yes, sir.
I was hard on Larry Borum. I do this a lot where I'm like, I didn't think somebody on the line played great because of the big whiffs. Really, it was just the third quarter. He was all right for a backup the rest of the game.
Yeah,
But
he's
the
a.
Commanders came out and clobbered the Bears the first part of that third quarter, and Borum was a problem there.
But that line,
But he played okay otherwise.
that Washington line is legit.
Yeah, I mean the Bears
So
line did a really good job
he
against them
did.
overall. But I wanted to give a little bit more love to Borum because
I
he
think
was better than I thought the rest of the game. Really rough third.
if he's your swing tackle, that's not a bad place to be, right?
By the way,
Because
did you see where Braxton Jones has like the best pass block true pro sets win rate in the NFL?
I have not
He's
seen
playing
that.
out of his mind except for the penalties before he got hurt.
Hmm. It's yeah, it is
He
the
was
penalties.
stonewalling
It's
everyone, but he did get the penalties were the problem.
that's been
I'll
the
take
problem with
that
him.
over can't block though.
Yeah.
Because like if we're honest, aren't holding penalties a coin toss and no one quite understands when they're going to call them and when they don't?
Seems like only when it's
For the most
really
part, it's like,
obvious do they
oh, is
call him.
this is a penalty now? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. They got to
Hmm.
be pretty egregious,
Yeah.
but they can also call them tic tac. I don't know. So yeah, I wanted to note that on Borum,
Yeah.
and
Good
I
call. Good
think
call.
the only, I mean, this isn't really an upon further review thing. That's really the only one I have, but just the kind of like Bears week. I am very disappointed in myself because I have, for the first time that I can remember after a post game, completely agreed with something the head football coach has said.
Oh no.
Oh
And
no.
I'm very disappointed in myself right
Oh
now.
no.
They asked him what the biggest difference in the Washington game was, and he said aggressiveness.
Huh.
And I was like,
Interesting.
that's a fantastic answer. I agree. Think about the chunk shots they were taking down the field, letting Fields throw
Hmm.
20 yards and up where he's awesome. Stop asking him to do what he's not good at. Let him do what he's good at, which is even more productive. Hello, why did it take
Exactly.
this long? But I love that
Exactly.
aggressiveness. And the defense blitzed 30% of the time, which is like three
Yes.
times any other game this year,
Yeah, and a lot
which
of
is
blitzes.
actually really great when you're playing a bunch of young corners
Uh-huh.
and you're not sure what they're going to give you and they're dropping like flies and you got guys you never heard of. It's just let's just send them off the edge.
Yeah.
I thought
I
the defensive game plan was the best one Eberflus has dialed up.
and again, why did it take this long? Or was it just a good matchup? But no, well,
I
I
don't
don't.
know.
It wasn't a
Build
good.
off of it, please. Do not go
Yeah,
back to your little wimpy conservative selves.
keep up that pressure. I mean, did it take 5 weeks to realize their front four isn't getting it done? I mean,
I don't know. You can
yeah,
certainly still criticize him for those kind of things, and like it should have
yeah,
been pretty obvious that Fields needs to be throwing deep more than he needs to be throwing screens,
yep.
right? Like he's also really good outside the numbers. Like there's a lot of obvious stats to back up this is how it should look. And obviously your soft zone isn't covering anyone, so you should probably dial up some pressure. These things seem like they should be immediately obvious. But if we can build off of it, I'll be happy. And I totally agreed when he said aggressiveness was the difference. I was
Yeah.
like, that's a good way to sum it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got to. I remember even back in the day, my friend Buddy Ryan saying his line was not good enough to rush only four to get to the quarterback, so he had to start sending more
Which is
guys.
hilarious because they totally were.
I know. He said, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
The Bears.
but I mean,
But
that's
we've seen over the years what happens when you blitz poorly.
yeah, yeah,
Like the worst thing a defense can do. Remember all the years where they just run the linebacker right into the guard, and you're like, that was effective. Great
yeah,
job, guys.
yeah. You know, even Urlacher was not good at blitzing like that. He couldn't shed blocks like that. But yeah, but you
Yeah,
have to disrupt the timing of the quarterback. I mean, it's like in baseball. You throw the curveball once the batter is expecting the fastball, you know? It's all about that
yeah. This
timing
whole
and
league is a
messing that
chess
up.
match.
It's exactly disruption, disruption. You've got to do it. And if your front four guys, I mean, look what Jordan Love did with no pressure that he hasn't been able to come close to since, you know?
Yeah, looks
Jordan
bad.
Love.
I mean, I'm not gonna dump on
uh,
Jordan Love much. I think he looks bad. I think he's pulling a reverse Fields, right? Where he looked good the first week or two and has looked bad since. I think
it's
the
reverse fields. Yeah.
accuracy is horrible. And I have a hard time thinking with accuracy that bad that he'll suddenly be good.
Did you see he
But
was?
guys, this is important. We want them to think he still has the potential to be good.
Yes,
We can't
yes.
have another game like the Raiders where they're going to start tanking for a QB too. I want him to fool them, as cousin Nate pointed out when we were
What does it
talking a
mean?
while back, like before the season. He's like, actually, isn't the best thing like a 7-win Packers team, and Love
Absolutely.
looks okay enough for them to fall for it? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Bring on
Absolutely.
QB purgatory for the Packers. I don't want them getting a
Yeah.
shot at Drake May or whoever.
Did you see against the Raiders? He was 3 for 11 in passes past. Was it 10 yards? I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's bad. He's one of the worst QBs in the league, throwing in the
three
middle of
for
the field
11.
or deep.
Yeah, 3 for 11 and 3 interceptions. So I guess you could say he was
That's
six
why I
for
think it's
11.
like, man, I don't know if this thing's gonna work. And if you think about the Bears game, how many of those yards were to like
Aaron
Aaron
Jones.
Jones out of the
Yep.
backfield?
Yep.
Boy, do
Hmm.
they miss him.
Yeah, they do. But
But yeah, that and then that interception to the linebacker was just hilarious. He could have thrown that to
um,
two different linebackers.
yeah,
The guy behind the guy who caught it, I don't even know their names, right? He was
yeah,
gonna catch it too. Like, he just didn't see it. It was a really crazy play. I mean, every now and then a young quarterback will have one of those, but that was an
yeah.
exceptionally funny bad one.
And Christian Watson learning to look for a flag after an interception. That's learning to become a Packer.
Yeah, that guy would be a problem with the great quarterback.
Woo! Yeah. Oh, he's fast. He is
He's
fast.
open a lot.
There were a lot of. I saw a lot of Packer fans on social media saying, if it weren't for that horse collar, maybe the Packers would have won because that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, great
Okay.
horse collar.
Sure.
That's smart.
Exactly. Exactly.
Get the guy down then.
Yeah.
And I saw people are like, maybe they changed the rule. Okay, well, is DPI in the end zone going to be a touchdown then? Because like, where do we stop with this?
Right. Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I agree that that was like going to be a touchdown, sure. But
Mm-hmm.
how about Jair Alexander's comments too?
I
Oof.
didn't. I didn't see those or hear those.
Where he's like, yeah, our offense isn't good. I mean, he was trying to say like the defense needs to play better because the offense isn't good, but it sounded like really arrogant and people are taking it probably out of context on some level, but he's also kind of one of those guys that'll stir the pot a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know where that thing's going in Green Bay, but I don't think it's going much of anywhere this year.
And that's a real shame.
And again, let's just spin the tires in a 7-win season.
Sounds good to me.
No tank. I
No
don't want to
tank.
get in the quarterback yet.
Maybe the Vikings
All
after
right,
this
so
week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a funny game because you're like, again, I know it's like maybe lame or something, but it's kind of a win-win. Like if you win this game as the Bears, you're like, hey, maybe we can build on, we're gonna finish stronger than we started, and things will look a little better going into next year.
Hmm.
But if you lose, you're like bumped a rival out of the tank sweepstakes.
Oh,
I
interesting
mean,
perspective.
it's
Yeah,
we know this Bears team isn't a playoff team. I mean, if you lose like 31-28, I'm not going to be all that upset.
yeah, yeah.
If we lose 13-10, it's like there goes the offense again.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want
Then
that.
yeah, then Caleb Williams talk ramps up
But
for
the
sure.
Vikings come in with several, one really, really, really big problem.
No one
No
to catch the
Justin
ball.
Jefferson.
Yeah, that's
We
huge.
haven't seen them without him.
Yeah.
It's like I realize they could still move the ball on the Bears. It's totally possible. Let's not overreact and assume the defense is all of a sudden like going to hold everyone to 20. I mean, they could easily I mean, you can easily envision a scenario where Cousins still chews them up, and you're just like, what are we doing defensively the
Yeah.
whole game?
Still a
But
bad
Jefferson
defense.
is a
Still a good quarterback.
legitimately top five like player in the league,
Yeah, he's their
or
best
10 or
player.
whatever. And if you do the non QB part, he's like top two or three.
Yeah, their best player. Their best
I
player is
like
out.
he's easily their best player.
Hmm.
He's probably the best player in the division. Right now it's like him or
Interesting.
Hutchison, I would say.
Oh, Hutchison. Oh
You know what I'm saying?
man,
Like this guy
that
is
guy. Whew.
this guy is a big blow to lose for a month or more.
Right.
So if the Bears are going to beat him with their weird roster that they have, it's kind of now.
Mm. Yeah, we got all our
Like
defensive
they're
guys.
not good.
No, and we got Johnson back. Right? Is Gordon back this week? I know he was off
Yeah, so
IR.
I think there's like three or four big questions, right? Like what do the Vikings look like without Jefferson? Can Fields and Moore build on their previous success? Is it still, can they keep it up? And then what does the Bears secondary look like now that it's back together?
Hmm.
Is definitely one of them. They're all playing, I think. And we'll know more later today, like we record this at like noon, but they all practice. They're all off of IR. Gordon, Johnson, Jackson, all at least limited. So I'm guessing we'll get a questionable or two and a definitely playing, and then they'll all play come Sunday.
Well, Jalen made it sound like he's playing because he expressed disappointment that
Definitely.
Jefferson isn't. So
Right.
that's huge having him back. And man, Kyler Gordon, I thought was really starting to look good too when he got hurt. I know it was week one, but in the preseason, I don't know. It just
In a
looked like
really
things
good
were
camp
starting to
too.
click. Yeah. So I'm excited Gordon's going to be and hopefully playing. I think that's going to be
So
good
here
for the
is a look
secondary.
inside the numbers of the matchup with the
Okay.
big asterisks of Jefferson gone. Vikings at 299.6 passing yards a game are second in the league.
Wow. And one
Bears
in four.
offense is actually 14th passing.
Whoa.
Which is like,
That's
oh yeah, the last 2 weeks, look at us go. We have
that's
discovered the
compact.
forward pass, everyone.
It only took 100
By the way,
years.
this just remember my whole Bears Messiah complex, everybody's get right game.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say that's not true. It was for the Chiefs, but now they look like 19 points against Denver. Like they haven't got their offense figured out. The Broncos are basically your get right game
Ah, yes. Yes, they are.
because they did that for the Bears, so that's really powerful.
There you go.
Like they've got the talent then to
Hmm.
get you right. Okay, rushing yards. Vikings 29th. They keep trying to fix that every offseason, and they most emphatically don't. Bears ninth, without Fields being a huge part of it.
That's good.
No Herbert though. How
Yeah.
worried are you about no Herbert, no Roshan Johnson, and going to Devonta Foreman?
Well, Foreman's still. I mean, he's an NFL running back. I mean, he's okay.
He excelled
I,
at this last year. Had a
I,
thousand yards after they traded
yeah.
McCaffrey.
I feel better about this week than I did after both Herbert and Johnson were gone last week, because the offense really did start to sputter when they were gone until DJ Moore just decided to take the game over at the end there.
Yeah.
So with
Yep.
Foreman, I
Points
feel
per game.
yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say
I was
I
just
feel
saying
better because of Foreman. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big factor. I think they might have Justin run more. The Vikings blitz like constantly. That's either going to get the Bears totally confused and lead to fumbles, or it's going to have Fields torching them. He played really well against them last year, but it's a totally different defensive scheme now.
Hmm.
But I think he'll beat the blitz well enough that they're going to have to rethink it. Because if you blitz him and he breaks the tackle and there's no one else back and he only has like a safety to beat, that could
Hmm.
be trouble.
Yep.
Points wise, Bears are 11th in the league at 23 a game. Hard to imagine.
Wow.
11th in points. We have discovered the touchdown, everyone.
All right.
And the
Oh.
Vikings are 15th at 22. So 23 points a game versus a team with 22 points a game. It is a very even matchup by the numbers.
Hmm.
And yet the Bears are getting 3 points at home for you Buddy Bryans of the world.
Buddy
Don't
Bryant.
bet on the Bears. Just bet the over. Just keep betting the over.
Oh,
That's what you
yeah,
do.
the over for sure. Yeah, they've done well against the over lately. So
And the defenses are good against the run and terrible against the rest. Yeah, they're the
yeah,
22nd best defense against the pass. We're 30th, still terrible against the pass.
not 30
Against
seconds.
the run, the Bears are 11th, and they're 13th. So these two teams should be airing it out.
Yeah, the
Points allowed, they're 23rd, we're 30th.
Bears D really has tightened up against the run the last, I guess, ever since the Green Bay game with Jones.
Scariest matchup is when Minnesota's got the ball. They're second passing, we're 30th defensively against the pass. But no Jefferson,
That's huge.
double but. 3 secondary starters back this game, we think.
Mm-hmm.
In a 5-game sample, these numbers start to lose their value based on these kind of contingencies.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting the Bears to shut them down, but I don't think it's out of the question that the Vikings passing game doesn't look as good as it has. They've also got a bajillion turnovers.
Hmm.
So those, I think, are your roads to victory for the Bears.
The Bears started to figure out how to get turnovers too. They got all 4 of the hits last week, baby. The hits principle worked last
Oh my,
week.
stop. No.
You are indeed a dipshit from Chicago.
Now he's going to be convinced it's correct. Hey, did you see his post-game
yeah.
speech? It's the lamest
Oh,
post-game
no.
thing of all time.
Right?
Oh, it was
Right?
so hilariously
This
dorky.
is football, right?
Oh man,
we won the
big
game,
time.
right? And we made a play, right?
Right.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was.
You got to work on that
bad.
nervous habit, coach.
Right.
Can't do
right.
it.
Yeah.
Did you see did you listen to the bit with Bernstein and Holmes where they played it and then Bernsey was reacting to it
No.
and just cracking up?
Oh,
And he's like,
no.
he just sucks the energy from the room. He's like, they're going to be all depressed again after his post-game victory speech. And he's like, Ma, where's the green bean casserole? Bring the boys the green bean casserole. Just like the lamest way to celebrate in a locker room. Green bean casserole. Oh gosh, our coach is such a dork, man.
That
He's
poor
such
guy.
a dork.
Oh man.
That's why I call him the defensive Trestman. He's just as big a dork as Trestman was.
He really is.
But
Yeah.
his team hasn't given up on him yet, so there's
That's
that.
right. That's right. Hey, I've been I don't know the ins and outs of line play well enough to notice this, but apparently Jervon Dexter has really impressed.
Great game.
Yeah. So what is he doing that is making people pay attention? Because like I said,
But the people I trust about this think the Bears are playing Pickens and Dexter in the wrong positions, that they should switch them.
Oh, interesting.
Which I think fits the fact that they're also running a zone-heavy defense with press man corners. That all seems to add up to the coaches not putting them in the right positions. Although
Yikes.
once he blitzed more, that helped. He's winning his one-on-one matchup with power, I think, is the answer to your question.
Okay. He's been playing 3, right?
He had a really nice game against the Commanders.
Yeah. I was
They're
just curious.
trying Pickens at the 3 and him at the 1, which is weird because the 3 tech is the more important position and Dexter
yeah.
was the higher draft pick.
Yeah. Okay. So Pickens is 3 technique.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But the Bears are getting this great production out of their 2-1s, Dexter and Billings. Billings has been the best guy on the defense.
Yeah.
Like he's flashed the most.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to see next for the defense, keep the turnovers going, keep the secondary healthy, of course. I would like to see Tremaine Edmonds look like a big money player.
Yeah, my guy not.
Edwards has been okay, and he's not making as much. But Edmonds has been disappointing, and it's okay to say it. Maybe he's still rounding into shape with the defense and stuff. There's another guy that missed a ton of August.
Yeah, and
But yeah, I don't know.
Fe-
Some of the guys that missed August are good now. Nate Davis is kicking butt now. He's
yes, he
back in the
is.
group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's time for Edmonds to be the same.
I agree. I was thrilled when they signed him, and I have been disappointed. You would think that in this defense, he would be, not up to what Urlacher could do, but that same mold, you think he could get back and he's just not good in pass coverage.
Yeah,
Is
what's
what it
not
seems
clicking
like.
for him? And he's like
Yeah,
overrunning plays where he needs to break down and make the tackle. It's just like
yeah,
it's been very uneven start for a guy that is more talented than he's showing. So
yeah.
like I'd hope that changes. And if that changes, that will help on their pass defense because some of those slants and tight ends and all these kind of things. He's supposed to be covering the backs a lot too, and they've been getting torched by the running backs.
Every time there's a
So,
big play, yep, it's in between the linebackers and secondary. Every time. Every time.
and I'd like to see Jaquan Brisker make a play since he likes to talk so much.
Yeah.
He got burned on that like 40-yard wheel route by the running back, and then the next play he's doing his chirping thing. I'm like, dude, make some plays and shut your mouth for a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, on the other side of the
I know some
ball,
of these guys have to play with that edge, but
yeah.
sorry.
No, on the other side of the ball, right, looking real good on the offensive
Yeah,
line.
best blocking tackle for the rookie class.
Yeah. Oh, he's just looking like a snowplow at times on runs, and I love it.
The one where they pulled him and he clobbered the
Yes.
defensive back.
Yes.
He needs a nickname. Darnell Wright, we got to get this guy a real nickname. He's fun to watch for a tackle. It's like not that common to be like, hey, he's fun. Tevin Jenkins changes that whole picture too.
Yes, he does. Wow.
Did you see the play where he hip tossed the guy as he was blocking him? I only saw it the other day. It was like WWF or E or whatever style. That's when you love to just stay healthy, my dude. Just stay healthy.
I know.
And then I'd like to see Darnell Mooney get going. He's got this bad habit where he keeps jumping back. He did it on the throw in the end zone where I'm like, jump up, not he's like leaping back.
Yep.
And then the first play of the game, that was on him. Just keep running.
Yes, it was. I agree.
And then Justin missed him on a sail route, but it was like barely missed him. It's like, man, they're this close on that. And if DJ's going to get doubled more, that needs to unlock Mooney.
Yeah, it should. It has unlocked Komet, to an extent. That's been good to see.
Very productive. We need to understand he's not dynamic in space and with the ball, and I'd rather him just go down than fumble. But he's a productive player, and he's like fourth in yards and tight ends in the league. And everyone's like, why isn't he better? I'm like, he's productive. You're just expecting him to be Kelsey. He's not going to do that.
No. He can get open, and his hands are pretty good. But yeah, he goes down with first contact way too often. But
but it's like when he tries to get yards, it's like I'm terrified he's going to fumble because he's got the fumble problem in the past. Just be the red zone first down target, and I'm good.
Yep.
He's an inline tight end, not a move tight end.
And that's fine.
And that makes him valuable because he can also block a little.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're used to these more dynamic athletes, and I'm like, look, the guy's productive. He does his job well enough. And there you go. All right, we're running out of time.
Okay.
Go ahead, though.
He's going to end the season with like 8 to 10 touchdowns. And that's great. That's great for my tight end. Yeah.
What do you have, 7 last year? Yep. Remember when it was a thing that he didn't have any, and he didn't have any forever?
Yep.
Now he's a machine in the red zone. Big part of Fields being good in the red zone.
Yep.
All right, who you got? Vikings, Bears, noon.
Soldier
Field.
I can't help it. My meatball is taking over. I'm taking the Bears 34-17.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
One win, gentlemen, and he's got the Bears doubling up the Vikings.
I can't help it.
You're darn tootin'.
Now, Jefferson makes
I would not pick the Bears
there.
if Jefferson was in this game, but just for funsies with him out, I'm going to pick the Bears. And I'll say, I think the offense is clicking. I think they'll play pretty well against an aggressive Vikings D that doesn't have great corners. I'll say 33-20.
Okay.
Go Bears.
So we're
not
pretty
sure how we
close.
Get to 33, but shout out to Larry Bird. It's not that different than your score. I'm just picking on you.
That's fine.
The other game that matters. Who does Carolina play? Carolina at Miami.
Oh, boy.
Whatever will happen here.
Still got that number 1 pick.
Miami's favored by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
0-6 for the Panthers.
Yeah, and Bryce Young. He's still young. No pun intended, but I just don't think he can play in the NFL. He's too small. I just think he's too small.
I just don't think he has enough help to even begin to evaluate him. And I'm perfectly happy with that because I want that pick.
You know, he
But
could
Miami in a landslide is an easy pick here, right?
he could really use a receiver like a DJ Moore, you know? Bryce Young,
Yeah, I
couldn't
bet he could use a Christian McCaffrey too.
Oh man.
They were just
Oh.
recently very talented. What are they doing down there?
Oh, poor Panther
Oh,
fans.
gosh.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep. All right. The only other game that's interesting to me, well, we always do the division, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got shades of Matt Eberflus, right? Wait, do
Right.
the Packers have a bye?
I believe so.
Oh, they're on their bye. That's a rough one to go into your
They got
bye
a
with.
stew on that. Yeah. That's a shame.
Good matchup, sneaky good matchup. Detroit at Tampa Bay. That's a
Detroit
pretty
at
good
Tampa.
matchup. That might be the best matchup on paper this week.
I like
David
Detroit there.
Montgomery
Though.
already has 6 touchdowns.
Oh, good for him. He bet on himself and he's winning. Good for him. Good for him.
I always liked him as a person. Good for him. He's in a better situation for his skills. Right, the red zone tough yards back is really what he is. The
Mhm.
Bears are trying to use him as a. He's just not. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but it doesn't matter because they've got so much talent otherwise. I like Detroit. They're playing too well.
Same.
They're kind of in. I'm picking them unless they're playing the Eagles or Niners territory
Agreed.
until they, cool off. That's a good team with an absolutely dominant second-year defensive end. It's fun to watch. Did you see that interception Hutchinson had last week?
Yes. Oh man.
It's a stud. He's
Like,
a
how'd you
problem.
do that?
So,
It's like you had some
don't
Harry
even
Potter
know.
trickery there. Yeah.
Remember when he picked Fields off right before the half last year? Like, what's he doing 20 yards downfield? And it was like
Mhm.
unreal athleticism for a guy that size.
People
All right,
were
take us
freaking
away.
out. All right, thanks everyone for listening to this episode. We'll talk to you after the Bears play the Vikings on Sunday. Hopefully another W. That confidence is building. Check us out on Twitter at barely_educated. Check out our website, buymeacoffee.com/barely_educated. Join our honor roll and we will send you a Barely Educated t-shirt. We'll talk to you after the Vikings game. Bear down.
Go Bears. Oh, yeah?
You darn tootin'.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
My Chicago Bears.
Love the Bears.